It's time to breathe again on the Breath of Fresh Air webcast on YouTube. I am your host, Charles Taylor. I hope everybody had a great holiday season. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year to you, and Happy Hump Day. So there's a lot of stuff going on this particular day. So I'm just glad that I'm able to come on here and do this latest shorty for you. And again, I hope everybody had a great holiday season. I want to talk to y'all about the coaching carousel in the NFL. And we talk about, Patrick and we talk about how life is reflected through a lot of different things, whether it be entertainment, politics, sports, what have you. So a lot of the stuff you see in sports is actually kind of a reflection of life itself. So in life, one of these things we talk about is how people want the instant gratification. People are impatient. They want what they want right now. And sometimes you have to kind of work toward that and persist through a few tough times to get to where you want to go. This is no different in sports, and it's definitely no different in the National Football League when we look at how many coaches get fired after a year or two of existence. So, I mean, you can look at some of these situations where you have coaches who get hired and 2 years later they're gone, they're fired. It happened in New York with the Giants. Pat Shermer was fired on Monday. He had only been there for 2 years. Now, granted, they weren't having a lot of success there with him. It seemed like he was a little bit uh, confused, for the lack of a better word, when it came to a few of the coaching decisions. But again, it's 2 seasons. I believe when you are trying to build a program, whether you're in college, whether you're in the NFL, whether even if you're in high school, most coaches don't get things together until around that third and probably fourth year of being there. Because at that point, that's when you have the identity that is pretty much set in stone now. You kind of have your players that you want there, and things should start to take off around there. It's rare that you have situations like what you have in Alabama, per se, with Nick Saban. Nick Saban was able to win a national championship his third year there. Normally, it doesn't happen that quickly. Doug Peterson for the Philadelphia Eagles, he was able to win a championship his second year there. Those normally don't happen. Those are anomalies. And I think what has happened because of the successes of those two coaches, and there's a few others that I didn't name, but what has happened is since those guys were able to have success real quickly, everybody should be able to do that. And that's not the case a lot of times. For example, let's look at the Cleveland Browns. Now, they're a mess. They're a dumpster fire. We know they're messy. They have a lot of talented players they were able to bring in. And because of that, now all of a sudden they had these ridiculous expectations this season where they thought they were going to be Super Bowl contenders. Number one, I've said before, let's make sure Cleveland has a winning season first before they do anything. Let's make sure we can be above 500 for a season before we want to start talking about Super Bowl aspirations. But be as it may, the expectations were the expectations. Needless to say, Cleveland didn't come close to meeting any of these expectations. They finished 6-10, and everybody is disappointed, which I don't understand why everybody was setting themselves up for disappointment like that anyway, but that's what happened. And now it's a complete overhaul again in Cleveland. They fired Freddie Kitchens after the first year. Freddie Kitchens didn't look like he really had a clue as the coach anyway. I get it, but he's gone after a year. And then they parted ways with the general manager, John Dorsey. This man helped bring a lot of that talent there, and you're getting rid of him. I guess there was differences between which direction they wanted to take the organization. So the owners of the team, the Haslams, Jimmy Haslam's the owner. Uh, They're now looking for their seventh head coach in 7 seasons. There is absolutely, positively, no way in hell you are going to be able to build any type of continuity, any type of stability, if you are getting rid of coaches and general managers really on average of a year clip. This is crazy. You wonder why the Cleveland Browns can't get right. This is why. Nobody can get settled on any type of direction for the team. Now, Baker Mayfield is going to have to learn another system for the quarterback. And I mean, I don't think he's that great anyway, but it doesn't help when you have to continuously learn system after system each and every season. Now, in the Freddie Kitchens case, Freddie Kitchens was the offensive coordinator the year before or last year. So I guess the thinking was, well, we could make him the head coach, then we could continue that growth process. But Baker Mayfield clearly regressed this year, and he didn't really utilize the weapons that were there. Odell Beckham Jr. had a subpar year. Jarvis Landry had a subpar year. The defense didn't do as good as they thought they would. Of course, losing Myles Garrett for the season after bashing Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback Mason Rudolph in the head with a helmet didn't help. But this was a team that had a whole bunch of aspirations and they didn't get it done. It happens. Then you look at how some of these assistants are getting coaches. Now, the Chicago Bears and the Detroit Lions, those respective head coaches, we're talking about Matt Nagy for the Bears, Matt Patricia for the Lions, they fired, in common combined, they fired 10 assistants. 10 of their assistants. I think Matt Nagy fired 4, and Patricia fired 6 assistants. It just goes to show you, just looking at the cases with Cleveland and then what you saw in Chicago and Detroit with those head coaching staffs, it just goes to show you there is a lot of pressure that is being put upon these franchises to win now. And they're going to do whatever they have to do to try to get there. And I get it. Everybody wants to win now, but I think you have to be patient. You have to have some continuity. You have to have some stability, a foundation set before you can expect to win. If you continue to shuffle coaches in and out, general managers in and out, then the continuity is not going to be there. But this is also what you see in the game we call life as well. And then you have cases where you're probably too patient. Dallas Cowboys are one of those cases. There's still no decision, at least not that I know of. There's still no decision handed down on whether or not they're going to maintain their head coach, Jason Garrett. Jason Garrett has been there since 2010. The team has been consistently average the whole time. It's probably time for him to go. But we forget, or actually we don't forget, but we understand who the owner is. It's Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones is a Jason Garrett guy. And the simple fact Jason Garrett is still in limbo right now goes to show you how much he does not want to fire this man. He wants to keep him, and he's going to do everything he can to justify keeping him. And even if they keep him on as a consultant, it's just crazy to me that Jason Garrett still has this job, because anywhere else he would have been gone a long time ago. So I think really when you look at those cases, so you look at the Dallas case, and then you look at the case with the other coaches, or with Cleveland, Chicago, and Detroit, you have to find that balance there. And if you do have a successful coach, you want to keep him there. Look at Bill Belichick in New England. Look at Pittsburgh's coach, Mike Tomlin. These guys have been there for over 10 seasons now. In Belichick's case, I think he's been there since 2001. So, I mean, I think being stable, having a foundation laid, and knowing what direction you want to go is paramount if you're going to be successful. As for the actual structure of it, your general manager and your head coach, not necessarily the owner. I get it, the owner owns the team and he's going to have overall say. But your general manager and your head coach have to be lockstep with each other. If one of those two are off, it's probably not going to work. And I mentioned the general manager and the head coach because they're the ones in most cases, unless you are talking about the Cowboys, who handle the football aspect of the business. So as long as those two guys are on lockstep, things can start to progress. If If you have situations like you have in Cleveland, then you're gonna have Cleveland. So the impatience of trying to get the instant gratification, I think that hurts a lot of people. And this is one of those things where we talk about relating sports to life. This is what we mean right here, the impatience of people and wanting the instant gratification. Sometimes patience does pay off. Well, that's what I'm breathing on for today. Y'all make sure y'all get on to the BOFA, the Breath of Fresh Air YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button, and continue to keep the likes coming on the Breath of Fresh Air Facebook page. Keep the likes coming on there, uh, and leave comments, good, bad, or indifferent. It does not matter. We are all ready and willing to respond to the comments, whatever you guys have to say. We plan on this being a big year for this webcast. My boy Patrick will be back with his Shortie, and we have a lot of stuff coming up. So hopefully he can get to it, provide a nice, clean product for you, and make 2020 a big year. So until then, everybody take care. I hope everybody has a great new year, a great rest of the week, and we will talk soon. Take care.